Hi guys, it's Justin Wilson at Sound 81 Productions. I'm here with Molly Hammer, and we are here to talk about her new record we just finished at the studio, Out of This World. Molly, it was awesome to work with you. I'm so glad that we got to do this. Tell me a little bit about this record and who was on it.
Well, Joe Cartwright produced this record for me. He was on piano for every track, and we had Todd Strait on drums. If anyone's ever heard of that guy, Todd Strait. And Steve Ragazzi on the bass. And then we had Brad Gregory in for a few tracks on saxophone. So, a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, great time.
Now, this is your first full-length album?
It is. It is.
How does it feel to kind of have this under your belt now?
Oh, it feels great. It was something I'd been wanting to do for years, and I don't know why. I just kind of got stuck in this rut and just without moving forward with it. And finally, all the stars aligned. Everything came together. Joe was there to help put it together because I'm bad at organizational kind of things, and he's really good at that. And it feels great to have finally done it.
When you guys were putting it together, was there a message that you were kind of trying to do with your song choices or styles, or what were you trying to represent?
Interesting question. I've thought about this a lot. When Joe and I were kind of brainstorming, we talked about trying to put a theme to it, a real specific theme. But what it came down to was that this was my first full-length feature. So really what it is sort of an introduction to Molly Hammer as a jazz artist. In the future, I might try to do things like that, have some sort of theme that I put into my future records. But this one is sort of the songs that I love singing, and a few extra fun things thrown in that Joe and I came up with together, some cool arrangements. So it really is, the title track is Out of This World. And I chose that because, first of all, it's a great title, and it's just such a cool arrangement that Joe came up with for a Harold Arlen tune called Out of This World. So,
well, and when we were tracking this, one thing I noticed on each different song, your style was completely coming out. Like I could hear Molly. Your voice is very recognizable.
Oh, good.
Your range, though, is what I noticed. Where did all this kind of come from? Because you got up on some of those songs and you're singing up here, but then you really can get full. And I know for a lot of jazz artists, you do want to be able to have that range. Is that something you've always had, or have you developed this just for jazz, or because of your background?
Oh, good question again. I think I've always had the range, but I was afraid to work with it. Before I started singing jazz, I was doing theater. And when you're doing a lot of theater, you get stuck in the same things over and over again. I was the brash alto who always sang really belty songs and was kind of, slutty. So
token alto?
Absolutely. It was the token slutty alto. And so I got tired of that. And so when I started singing jazz, it really opened up this world for me of like, I get to use these high notes. Like, I don't want to live up there in the high world. I don't like that.
But it's nice to visit.
But it is nice to visit. It's a nice place to visit. If I had to live somewhere, it'd be in that low range. But like, for instance, some of those bebop tunes where you're almost mimicking, the horn.
Sure, that's
the horn solo, which is the whole point of them. It's really fun to just play with going way up and then finding your way down. And so that is definitely something I have worked on since I began singing jazz music. A lot of fun.
It's your summer home.
It's my summer. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
When we were tracking and you started hearing, the dailies talking about what you hearing yourself under the microscope, was there an excitement to it? Was there that critical thing coming back? How did you
Definitely
build from
both. Definitely both. It was.
And how did that build you as an artist? Hearing that.
Oh, it was. I just think recording is something every single musician should do a lot, because you just aren't hearing what you sound like until you hear it back that way. And so there was both. There were times when I'd be like, ooh, that's so cool. And then there would be times like, oh, I sounded ridiculous on that one section, or why did I hit that R sound so hard, or just that kind of stuff. So it was definitely
And that was the lake house. We don't go there very often.
Yeah, the lake, absolutely. Don't go there
Maybe
too
you do
often
go
at
there.
all.
I don't know. Was there instant chemistry? Because I know you've known these musicians for a while. Locking into the studio, did that help the comfortability, knowing these guys and the musicianship that was coming out?
100%. And I'll say, I got a text message from Steve that night saying, what a great session. That was awesome. Next time I saw Todd, he was like, that was a really great session. I mean, I think it was just obvious that it really went well. You know, like everything melded together. There was no strife. I mean,
Good word.
really, I just really felt like there was a great chemistry with all of us in here, you know? And knowing Joe, I mean, Joe and I have been working very closely together for a few years now, and so of course that, you know, that's a very important relationship. A singer and their piano player
Oh, sure.
has to be,
Joe's a great
you know,
guy.
yeah, great player.
I love Joe Cartwright.
Yeah.
What's kind of your final thoughts on this whole process and what it's done for you as an artist, maybe as a person? Just final thoughts on your experience.
I had the absolute best time recording this album. I left a lot of the organizational and, how do I say it? I left a lot of aspects of this to Joe this time. And I think that it was really important for me to get this first experience of recording this album. I think it prepared me for the future of maybe taking even more on, you know, as an artist, and getting a little even more creative in the future. I just feel like this is the first in a long line of albums that I will record, but I'm very, very proud to call this my first full-length album. And I'm very, very glad I did it here. It was a great experience.
Well, I'm very, very glad you did it here. No, I absolutely loved having you here, and there was something about those sessions. I mean,
Yeah.
seems to be kind of a good thing to walk out with no stress.
It
Just
really
make music.
didn't feel stressful.
Yeah.
It really was just a fun.
And we did a lot of work too.
We did a lot of work, and we covered a lot of ground. We used our studio time very well. I can't say enough good things. It's just great. It
It was
was.
magic.
It was.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time to do this, and I hope that
Absolutely.
this can help get the word out about
Thank
the
you.
record.
For everything.
Well, you're welcome, and I hope that this, you know, starts a long business music family relationship, and
I think it will.
I think you're just a really wonderful woman. I really do.
Thanks.
So you'll be able to find Molly's record soon this summer on iTunes, all the digital outlets. There'll be more announcements on probably her webpage,
That's right.
Facebook,
All
as
that.
far as where to find all that. So thank you again, Molly. Thank you all for watching this, and I hope you have an awesome day.
Thank you.